First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
Welcome to WUFT News, First at 5. I'm Macie Goldfarb.
And I'm Fareeha Abrar. Thanks for joining us. As Puerto Rico deals with the after effects of Fiona, Florida may be facing a hurricane threat next week.
Yeah, that's right. The governor has already declared a state of emergency for the southern half of the state. WUFT's Julia Haley joins us now with our first look at the forecast. Julia?
Currently tracking the tropics all throughout the Bahamas, seeing that tropical depression move westward throughout Friday afternoon and into Saturday morning, and then expecting the depression to intensify into a tropical storm and even a hurricane by Monday, moving northward towards southern Florida. So if you live in Fort Myers, Miami, or even Tampa, you may want to be prepared for this storm coming to your area. But here in Gainesville right now, having some blue skies outside, 81 degrees. Feels like 84 degrees outside, cooling down for our second day of fall though. Outside, 83 degrees Ocala, 87 the Villages, 78 Palatka, 78 St. Augustine, 79 Jacksonville, and 84 for Daytona. And this evening expecting to drop from the upper 70s into the lower 60s, the upper 60s actually, as we start with that sun in the sky, those clouds staying throughout the night and into the morning. Back to you.
Thanks, Julia. Fiona is being blamed for the rough surf along Central Florida beaches, which could linger through the weekend. Volusia County is warning swimmers to stay near open lifeguard towers.
That would scare me, and I love the water. I love to scuba, I love to snorkel. That would scare me.
These visitors from Wisconsin make good sense because this is scary surf. 4 to 6 right now and still building thanks to that distant hurricane.
They went out on the jet ski and they were trying to tell everybody, hey, you got to come back. You know, it's just too rough right now. It's not safe.
It could be very dangerous.
Beach Safety is sending the same message from now right through the weekend. The waves are currently very powerful.
This kind of surf will slam you into the ground. It could cause injuries. If you're not experienced, we do ask you not to go out there.
And even when the waves calm down by the weekend, the threat of rip currents will not only continue, it will be worse.
Heavy surf is, putting holes in the sandbars, and then when we go into the weekend, those rip current conditions will be stronger.
While not great for swimming, the ocean conditions are a bonus for treasure hunters. The churned up sea might spit out something precious.
We look for that big storm that doesn't damage too much, but that brings stuff to where we can get to it for sure.
In addition to the rough conditions, Volusia County Beach Safety says it's also noticing an uptick in jellyfish stings.
And after Fiona, President Joe Biden is promising the federal government will fully cover a month of wide-ranging aid for Puerto Rico. The funds will cover debris removal, water restoration, search and rescue costs, plus shelter and food costs for the next month. Fiona came almost exactly 5 years after Hurricane Maria devastated the island. Biden says the people of Puerto Rico should know that we are with you.
A Florida deputy was killed in a hit-and-run in Pinellas County last night. According to authorities, it happened shortly after 11 p.m. around Interstate 275 and Roosevelt Boulevard in Tampa. Deputy Michael Hartwick was called to help an overnight construction crew to keep them safe. Authorities say he got out of his vehicle wearing safety gear and was standing on the highway's shoulder when he was hit by a construction vehicle. Deputy Hartwick was killed instantly. The construction worker abandoned the vehicle and took off on foot. However, the man was eventually located and taken into custody.
He killed a cop and he ran, and we need to get him in custody. He needs to be accountable for what he did. And, it's just mind-boggling that he would do that. And he knew, because the guy that he shed his vest and his helmet when he told him what he did, he knew he killed a deputy, and he made a phone call to somebody else after he did it, saying that he had killed a deputy.
Victor Vasquez faces a charge of leaving the scene of an accident involving a death and a second-degree felony. Authorities do not believe that this incident was intentional. Now, our WUFT digital correspondents are in the studio to tell us more about the stories that you can find on WUFT.org.
Yep, the University of Florida is once again a top 5 public university, and just like last year, the banners around campus to showcase the achievement have been stolen. WUFT's digital correspondent Elliot Tritto is here to tell us how UF responded on one of the top social media platforms. Elliot?
Last night, UF posted a 20-second TikTok poking fun at the top 5 banner thefts. The video was labeled as a public service announcement in an attempt to stop students from stealing the banners. Let's go ahead and play the post for you as I explain more. This year, already 14 out of the 19 banners disappeared across campus. Although it is some sort of tradition for students to climb the poles and take the banner, the university is concerned about their safety. The university estimated the stolen banners costed around $73 a piece. Currently, you can purchase the banners from the UF bookstore, but they cost around $150. That's all I have for now. Thank you.
The city approved Gainesville Regional Utilities budget increase proposal last night at the commissioners' meeting. City residents will see a rise in their utility rates for their water, electric, and wastewater bills. Now, Gainesville citizens will pay an average of $6.46 more for electric and 30 cents more for water monthly. These rates are a part of a 6-year rate increase plan voted last year by the City Commission, increasing each year until 2027.
WUFT digital correspondent Serra Sowers tells us how archer hunting preserves continue to thrive through economic hardship. Serra?
The hunting industry has not been spared the impacts of national labor shortages. However, at Emerald Creek Kennels, 2 business owners are adapting in order to stay in the industry. For the last 6 years, Jacob and Logan Huckabee have trained dogs and led bird hunting shoots out of Watermelon Pond Plantation in Archer. As business grew, they have searched for additional help with no luck, potentially linked to the national labor shortage. Despite rising prices of items like bird and dog feed, the Huckabees continue to serve their customers like they always have, just with slightly higher prices. Bobwhite quails, doves, and pigeons kick off bird hunting season in Alachua County. 4-legged and human customers alike can enjoy controlled shoots at local preserves like Watermelon Pond from now until the end of November. For a complete look at my story or any of our digital stories, please visit WUFT.org. That's all I have for now. Back to you.
Thanks, Sarah. And local dog shelters are having trouble staying afloat due to a lack of volunteers and an excess of dogs. The organization Plenty of Pit Bulls focuses on rehousing pit bulls, and it is no exception to this problem. County shelters like Alachua's Animal Resource Center shut down in June due to overcrowding. But Plenty of Pit Bulls aims to find a home for the misunderstood breed with its yearly budget of $40,000. Relying primarily on donations, it has also helped reduce overcrowding in Alachua County, South Florida, and Georgia. However, the organization found less people sign up to foster, which leaves them with 10 active foster parents and around 20 dogs. So, on October 2nd from 2 to 6 p.m., Plenty of Pit Bulls is hosting an event at First Magnitude Brewing Company in search of proceeds for medical care and other needs. With the pit bulls needing life-saving supplies, and the organization hopes that this fundraiser will bring in the necessary proceeds.
Yeah, of course. Let's hope those pit bulls find a home real soon. Coming up on First at 5, the mayor of New York is sharing his plan for housing the next wave of transported migrants from Texas. That and more up next.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
A federal judge is putting a deadline on the Trump investigation.
Judge Raymond Dearie is giving the government until Monday to declare if the documents taken from Mar-a-Lago are accurate. NBC's Chris Pallone tells us more from Washington.
Ever since the FBI searched his Mar-a-Lago resort looking for classified government documents last month, former President Donald Trump has insinuated several times without providing proof that federal agents might have planted evidence in his home.
The problem that you have is they go into rooms, they won't let anybody near them. They wouldn't even let them in the same building. Did they drop anything into those piles? Or did they do it later? There's no chain of custody here with them.
Now a federal judge is telling the former president to back up those words with evidence. Court-appointed Special Master Raymond Deary giving the Trump legal team a week to submit a list of items now in the government's possession that they believe were not actually seized from his home.
He's really made it clear that they either have to put up or they have to shut up, but they can't keep making these claims without actually providing evidence to back them up.
Earlier, he asked for more information about 100 sensitive government documents found at Mar-a-Lago. In public, Mr. Trump has implied he declassified them, but his lawyers haven't made that claim in court.
It doesn't have to be a process, as I understand it. If you're the President of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it.
A federal appeals court panel ruled Wednesday the Justice Department can continue using those seized classified documents in its criminal investigation.
He can't have his cake and eat it too, as the court basically said. He has to come forward with evidence, or it will be assumed that they are classified information and that he has no right to them.
Another setback for the former president as his legal woes continue to mount. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Washington.
The appeal court says it does not matter if former President Trump did declassify those sensitive documents, as he claims, because they still belong to the government and not to a former president who is now a public citizen like anyone else.
New York City's Mayor Adams is sharing his new strategy for housing the next wave of asylum seekers as buses from Texas continue to transport migrants. Shelters in NYC are at their breaking point. The city is now housing 10,000 migrants. That's up 2,000 from last week. City Hall is creating new relief centers that will be set up as emergency tent shelters with cots to sleep on. The mayor admits it's a temporary solution, and there are still questions about where families will move. The city says migrants would stay at the relief centers for about 24 to 96 hours. They would receive food, medical care, casework, and legal information. Mayor Adams said this is not an everyday crisis, but a humanitarian crisis that requires a different approach. Fareeha, let me know, do you have any special plans for this weekend?
Actually, I think I'm just going to deep clean because I'm preparing for the new season. You know, first day of fall was yesterday. So what's the first weekend of fall looking like, Julia?
For sure. Well, we're looking at sunny skies, but we are not seeing that the case for around Tuesday next week. So I'm Julia Haley with your full forecast in a few minutes.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Happy second day of fall. Currently sitting in the 80s around Gainesville, 82 Gainesville, 83 Ocala, 85 the Villages, 77 Palatka, and 84 Lake City. It's a little bit of a windy day today, especially along the East Coast. I-95, 21 miles per hour for St. Augustine, 20 Jacksonville, 19 miles per hour for Ocala. And outside of our studio, seeing those blue skies, we had cloudy skies earlier, but seeing majority blue skies with some sunshine as well. 81 degrees feels like 84 degrees outside. On our hour by hour, looking at the 70s, but dropping into the 60s overnight with some clouds in our area for the Saturday forecast. Seeing a sunny day ahead, and the same thing for Sunday with those highs in the mid 80s and our lows sitting in the 60s for both Alachua and Marion County for our Saturday night. Now, looking at the tropics, we just got Tropical Storm Hermine specifically over here off the west coast of Africa, but we are currently interested in this tropical depression right here in the Bahamas, as it is most likely going to become a tropical storm and then a hurricane later this week. Tropical storm and Hurricane Ian is what it's forecast to look like. Now, it's going to make its way to about Fort Myers, Miami, and also Tampa as a state of emergency has been established. So make sure that you stay prepared throughout this week. Get your supplies ready, non-perishable snacks and water, first aid kit, and also your flashlights and batteries. Do not forget your laptop and phone chargers if you need those. Now, for our 6-day outlook, Saturday looking pretty sunny, and same with Sunday as well, rising into the 90s, above average for this time of year, but dropping down once again Tuesday and Wednesday, starting to see those showers as the tropical storm and then forecast to be hurricane comes toward our area later in the week. Back to you.
The weather looks pretty good this weekend then, at least, you know, in Gainesville.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what Gator fans and the football team will be seeing this weekend in Knoxville. Coming up after the break in sports, our reporter Julianna Reichenbach will tell you more about the Gators' game plan for this week's matchup.
You're watching WUFT TV News.
Welcome to sports. I'm Julianna Reichenbach. Gator men's and women's swimming opened their season today. While the divers competed Thursday night, both swim teams competed today against Know the Southeastern and Arkansas. Sophomore Ekaterina Nikonova won the women's 100 free, while Florida junior Bailey Jones won the men's 200 fly. Meanwhile, Gator freshman Joshua Liendo won the 50 free. He competed for Canada in the 2020 Olympics. The Gator squads compete again at Virginia on October 22nd. After all the talk, game day is almost here. The number 20 Gator football team takes on the number 12 Tennessee Volunteers tomorrow. The game will serve as ESPN's College Game Day and represents the Gators' third-ranked matchup in 4 games this season. However, it's the first road game this year. Much has been made of quarterback Anthony Richardson's lackluster performance in the last 2 games, where he's thrown for 423 yards along with 4 interceptions, and still no passing touchdowns. However, Florida head coach Billy Napier says he's proud of how Richardson is managing all the pressure.
I'm really proud of how he's handled things so far. You know, he continues to stay focused, and, you know, a guy's just an unbelievable human being that, you know, continues to get better.
Kickoff is set for 3:30 on CBS. Gators soccer looks for its first SEC win Sunday versus the Georgia Bulldogs. Florida is 0-2 in the SEC, losing 2-1 at home against Tennessee and 1-0 last night on the road at number 13 Ole Miss. In the game against Tennessee, Florida outshot the Vols 14-12. Against number 13 Ole Miss, Florida had 4 shots on goal, while Ole Miss had just 3. Whether they can convert these shots will be a question for Sunday versus Georgia at noon at the Diz. Number 12 Florida Volleyball travels to South Carolina for a pair of matches against the Gamecocks. They'll play Saturday and Sunday, looking to build their win streak to 8. That's right, life has been good for Florida. After taking down number 6 Wisconsin in front of an NCAA record regular season crowd, the Gators began SEC play sweeping Alabama Wednesday. Staying an average height of 6'3" across the net, the Gators get 2.7 blocks per set, the most in the SEC. While the Gators are 1-0 in conference play, South Carolina begins SEC play Saturday. Both weekend games are set for 2 p.m. on SEC Network Plus. Meanwhile, the Santa Fe College volleyball squad continues its first year under head coach Bailey Coleman. Last night, the Saints went for their first conference win, hosting the Eastern Florida Titans. Third-year sophomore Caitlin Crofts, a former Rock High School middle blocker, posted several big aces to get the game tight. The Saints lost to move their record to 4-6 on the season. Over in high school volleyball, that's right, we've got all levels here. The Oak Hall Eagles lost in 3 sets to Central Point Christian Academy. The Eagles are now 14-3 on the year and will face the Rock School on Thursday. In high school football, Friday Night Lights are here. In what could be the big game of the week, the undefeated Buchholz Bobcats will hit the road to take on the 3-1 Vanguard Knights. Buchholz football features 2 UF commits, quarterback Creed Whittemore and defensive lineman Gavin Hill. For the Knights, 4-star class of 2024 safety Fred Gaskins III has offers from Florida and Alabama. Kickoff is set for 7:30 p.m. That was your look at sports. Now back to the desk.
Do you have anything special planned for this weekend, Fareeha?
Actually, I think I'm just going to get into deep cleaning and seeing how that goes. You know, first day of fall was yesterday, so what's the first weekend of fall looking like, Julia?
I mean, that does sound fun, but Let's talk to Julia.
Well, the first weekend of fall is looking sunny, but a state of emergency has been established for southern Florida, meaning that you need to be prepared for what is to come. Stay prepared. NOAA says that you should get non-perishable snacks and water, a first aid kit, and flashlights and batteries for your phone and your laptop and anything else you may need. Now, on to our 6-day outlook. Saturday and Sunday looking sunny, but expect some rain later. Back to you.
Now I'm looking extra forward to this weekend. Thanks, Julia. BBC World News is up next, and the PBS NewsHour is coming up at 7.
And remember, your Florida news is always on at WUFT.org. Have a good night.